Before every voyage, there's a moment when land finally appears on the horizon. Sometimes it's the destination you set out for, and sometimes it's a place you never expected to reach. The stars don't always align, and the winds often shift, but the voyage continues all the same. And when it does, you learn to follow a new course. That's exactly what this chapter is about. That land on the horizon? Let's talk about Wallis and Futuna. First things first, what is Wallis and Futuna? Well, let me first start with an ounce of respect in the name, Uvea mo Futuna. Uvea mo Futuna is a French overseas territory. It lies somewhere between Fiji and Samoa. The islands consist of Wallis Island, Uvea, Futuna, and an island off of Futuna called Alofi. The language is, of course, Uvean and Futunan.
Now, because these are two separate islands, they each speak their own language, and their greeting goes as follows. In Uvea, they say, Malo te maule, malo si ikataki. And in Futuna, they say, Malo le maule, malo le kataki.
But unlike its neighbors that speak English, it speaks French. It is a Polynesian archipelago, but around here at One Ocean, One People, we don't use those words. Oceania. There are currently 3 cultural kingdoms within Uvea mo Futuna. Wait, hold up, let me remind myself what these kingdoms are. Kingdom of Uvea, Kingdom of Singave, if I'm saying that right, and the Kingdom of Alo, or Futuna. Interesting, I can't wait to learn about that. Oh, that's cool. I could go on about population and other statistics about Uvea mo Futuna, but then I'd be a Wikipedia page. However, I will say this. Uvea mo Futuna is yet another vital link in my storytelling initiatives with One Ocean, One People. Okay, before I move on to Uvea mo Futuna, I have to make a disclaimer about something. For those who have been recently following me, my last voyage was to the islands of Tokelau. And ever since I left, I've been putting in an effort to return. However, like the first time, which took nearly 2 years, it came down to bureaucracy. It came down to bureaucracy. Basically, it comes down to administrative and political decisions on the back end for me to go. The only difference from the first time to this time of trying to go back to Tokelau, I have community support in the islands that have been working hard to help me come back. But still, bureaucracy. I gotta work on that word. Apart from resilience, patience is an integral element to uphold and maintain in voyaging. And this is the pure example of why it's important. Tokelau is going to happen, and when I get the approval, that'll give me a direction to move forward. But in the meantime, the story continues, as well as the voyages, until Tokelau becomes a yes. Uvea mo Futuna is next. Well, if anyone were to ask me, why Uvea mo Futuna? My answer would be, but why not? Something I noticed about Uvea mo Futuna is that there are not very many travelers that go. I don't see a very big social media presence of travelers going to these islands. Of course, being a French territory, I've noticed more French tourists going to visit. But the reality is, I have not seen very many visitors that go to Uvea mo Futuna. I'll be quite honest with you, I've asked a lot of people if they knew about Wallis and Futuna, let alone Uvea mo Futuna. And oftentimes, most people don't even know where Wallis and Futuna is, let alone even heard of it. Which, apart from my own desires to learn about a new place, but the fact that it has such low frequency of visitors and travelers, and it being highly underrepresented as a Pacific island, it brings an even greater form of curiosity for me to voyage through. I'm not gonna lie, all of that just makes me even more curious to know, see, and learn what these islands are really about. Which brings me to the 3 main reasons of why I want to visit Uvea mo Futuna. Here we go. As always with my Pacific voyaging, if it's not the canoe that intrigues me, it's the dancing cultures around the islands. Without no doubt that each dance from each island is just a form of storytelling, dance in the Pacific continues to fascinate me and I cannot get enough. And that is especially so for the many dances that exist in Uvea mo Futuna. If I could just add just a slight observation, which I'll probably be able to back up with information when I learn more about the islands, especially when I go, is that Uvea mo Futuna culture, and especially the dance, looks very familiar to Tongan. And of course, there's a deep history between Tonga and Uvea mo Futuna, but I just have to make mention that is quite amazing. Of course, as I said, dance is one of my favorite elements of culture in the Pacific, and I just can't wait to see how the culture in the islands expresses itself through dance. Oh, okay, let me take a breath for a second. What makes it more interesting about my trip is I'm going to experience one of the greatest events in the islands. And as far as I know, this is exactly the content that I've seen all over social media that I've been dying to be a part of. And guess what? The Voyager is going to be a part of it. Reason number 2, Futuna. Like I mentioned before, the archipelago consists of 3 main islands, Uvea, Futuna, and Alofi. But Futuna is actually pretty far southwest of Uvea. And from what I understand, Uvea is like the administrative center, which has the frequent visitors. It's the political center. It's where a lot of the events and the movement happens. Futuna is a bit more isolated, or shall I say, more remote. And if I could be honest with you, Futuna is actually a place I've been very curious about for a long time. For many years, I've tried to look up information about Futuna, and it's actually scarce. And if it's hard for me to find any information about a place, you best believe that my heightened curiosity and desire to go there is going to be really high. And that's especially so for Futuna. And the third and final obvious reason, these are very familiar in all my videos, cultural immersion. Just like every Pacific island I've been to in the past 8 years, the most apparent and obvious reason I'm in the islands is to immerse into the culture and traditions of each place. In my 8 years with One Ocean, One People and the mission and the storytelling initiative behind it, every island is very much connected to the next. Every island is very similar, but each island has something different. And Uvea mo Futuna is different in its own way, which is why it's a chapter in itself. Well, Anthony, I mean, culture is very vague. What exactly do you want to see, learn, and understand when you're there? I want to experience the tapa culture, the weaving culture. Like I said before, I want to experience the dance. I want to hear the language of Uvean and Futunan. I mean, let me geek out for a second. It would be an honor to sit down with an elder to hear not only the language, but possibly an older dialect. Okay, you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. I'll check in a sec, okay?
Okay, love you.
Love you more.
Me too.
No, I love you more. What I know versus what I don't know. This is the part of the vlog that gets deep into what I understand and the things I don't, that is eventually going to catapult into a learning space for me when I'm in the islands to better understand and learn. I know I gave you 3 reasons why I want to visit the islands, but there's actually a 4th honorable reason. I'll be honest with you, Uvea mo Futuna attracts me because unlike other Pacific islands, I don't know very much about Uvea mo Futuna. Like I mentioned earlier, it's not very frequented with travelers. There's not much media online, let alone content, that shares about the islands in details that you would find in other Pacific islands. As I mentioned briefly before, these kinds of destinations attract my attention and my curiosity. And I'll tell you, I am really curious about Uvea Futuna. The information I know about the islands is gathered from what I've been able to read, as well as community on Facebook and across social media sharing what they know, sharing stuff with me that can help me better understand the island. But from experience, the best voyaging I've ever had have been in places where I learned on the go, in the destination. If I can only learn so much behind a desk, that leaves a massive learning curve for when I'm in the islands. And if I could share something from experience, these are sometimes the best voyages. It's a Polynesian island like all the islands I've been to. Just different. It's a French territory. Now let's talk travel logistics. At the time of recording 12 hours ago, I booked my round-trip tickets to Uvea from Nandi, Fiji. The only way you can get to Uvea, unless by boat, is from Fiji.
Is it a big plane or a paper plane?
A paper plane?
Yeah, that's what they call it.
It's a small...
When you kick the side, you could go right up.
It's not a like 747, but it's a smaller airline. This is the same flight you would catch from New Caledonia, stopping in Fiji, onward to Uvea Island. Here it says Airbus A320. The prices one way typically range about $200 to $300 to $400 US, but it depends on how booked the flight is. I was able to get a one way for $238 and the return for $278. Maybe I got that backwards. I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't mind taking a boat back to Fiji. Anyways, April, May, June. From now until that voyage, it's only 3 months, but that's 3 months that I have to prepare wholly for what chapter I'm about to start. I'm not only taking advantage of the time to connect with people and learn as much as I can, but hopefully by the time I touch down, this YouTube video would be indexed properly to the right eyes. Look at the what?
Water.
At the end of the day, what drives me to places like Uvea Futuna isn't just ordinary travel. It's to learn from people and a way of life that has spanned generations. It's a means to understand a part of a whole, and that is Oceania. And of course, storytelling is the driving force. Documenting and capturing these stories in the Pacific takes time, patience, and resilience. But most importantly, resources. So if you feel called to support the voyage and the mission, One Ocean One People is a growing 501c3 nonprofit organization. It is the backbone of this entire journey, built to help these Pacific stories with vital resources. For example, hiring someone to translate Tokelau into English. Donations help with the real cost of storytelling in the Pacific, and the two best parts are they are tax deductible and there are no fees because why? I'm the president. I run the organization. And then there's Patreon, which helps to support me directly while also getting to see what I'm doing behind the scenes, what I'm thinking, and what I'm planning, like this video. And last but not least, my GoFundMe, which is grassroots support for this voyage. It's been the backbone of this journey, elevating this mission of One Ocean, One People across the islands to the levels that it's at. As I've said in many videos, I may be driving the vehicle, but the community fuels the mission. Well, that wraps up what is essentially a countdown to the next chapter of my voyaging to Uvea Futuna. Well, I will mention that this is not a standalone preparation vlog. This is actually part of a series of vlogs that I've done before every chapter in every voyage in the Pacific. And they're called the Before I Voyage series. I've done one in Palau, American Samoa, and Tokelau. And the whole point of these is not just to prepare for what's to come. It's not only just to connect with community, but the preparations for what's to come is just as important to the story than the story in the place itself. Any more questions? Because somewhere down the line, when I experience all I experienced in Uvea Futuna, I'm going to look back at this vlog and say, wow, I did that and more. Here's to the next voyage. Here's to the next voyage. This is what voyaging is all about. It's about the preparation It's about hitting the waters and sailing off into the horizon. As I said, the stars don't always align and the winds often shift. We may put in efforts to other places like Tokelau, but that does not close the door to that voyage. If anyone truly knows me and my voyages, I truly allow things to fall into place. And I also go with my gut that everything's going to be okay and everything will line up. And the signs that have led me to prepare the voyage to Uvea Futuna, they all lined up. And for the simple fact that I can say this, I'm going, is incredibly exciting. And on this last note, like I said before, Uvea Futuna is just as much part of an integral piece to a larger picture. It is a chapter within a greater story that is Oceania, to a greater story that is One Ocean, One People. And I'm honestly really excited to see where my curiosity leads me, where the community guides me, what knowledge and stories I'll be honored to capture, how I'm able to gracefully carry the islands behind me into Uvea Futuna, getting lost in the French language, which I don't speak, at least not yet, how it's going to impact the people that are a part of the voyage, and most importantly, how Uvea Futuna is bound to change me. The only way to find out is to go. I want to thank you guys for watching. I look forward to seeing where this new chapter takes me. If you have thoughts, feedback, or suggestions on this new chapter, please drop a comment below, or better yet, DM me. I appreciate you, Voyagers, but before I go, I gotta close out with my important line. Once the traveling begins, the voyage never ends.